predictive programming is the idea that our governments or our elites, for example, use things like fictional stories, movies, the media, Hollywood to condition the general public and prepare them for a certain type of future event. In this case, you could say the cyber attacks, right? So the World Economic Forum has been warning us about it.
Yes, this is not a conspiracy theory. This lady sent this out. Predictive programming is a tactic used by our elite and government to prepare the general public for a future catastrophe through fictional story movies to condition the masses into complying and accepting their instrument of control as a solution. Once those crises that were manufactured by them actually occurred, it all straight out of the globalist playbook. They are telling us what they have in store for us.
Hollywood to condition the general public and prepare them for a certain type of future event. In this case, you could say the cyber attacks, right? So the World Economic Forum has been warning us about it. Now we see all sorts of apocalyptic movies coming out about the potential dangers of cyber attacks. And what I'm afraid of is that this is just simply them telling us what they have in store for us next. You know, if you know what the globalist agenda is about, that it's an agenda of control and that they love using crises to take control over our lives, well, a cyber attack is a perfect one to do it. Imagine that we say, well, you know, we need to take down the internet for a while, and it is dangerous, you know, to go on the internet uncontrolled because, look, we are prone to cyber attacks. Everybody now needs a digital identity to log onto the internet safely. You know, you have the perfect pretext to take control again over people's liberties and to monitor ordinary citizens and make their, you know, freedom of movement, even online, limited to whether or not they comply with the government.
Yes, Fox News Girl perfectly summarizes the World Economic Forum agenda just in 1 minute. I don't know if you saw this. Let me play this before I can give the full analysis on what is going on.
Joining me now is Ned Ryan, American CEO. Ned, great to see you tonight. It seems that the goal
Good to be with you, Laura.
Of this crowd is to kind of create the same panic change that they successfully created around COVID. Do I have this wrong?
No, you have it correct. I mean, first of all, we have to accept the World Economic Forum is a fanatical political organization that uses fear and manipulation like COVID hysteria to really facilitate people thinking that somehow they're the saviors. But really, all you're doing is helping them accomplish their goal, which really is a global public-private fascist movement and fusion of big government, big tech, big money to create a technocratic ruling elite, which conveniently is them. And really, Laura, if you want to look at it a different way, too, with the World Economic Forum, they want to create feudalism 2.0, in which we are serfs and they are the lords ruling over us. You'll have nothing and be happy is one of the things that comes out of Davos. That's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for feudalism in which we are serfs and we should be happy that they are ruling over us.
Yes, I see what she put out here to be relatable. When you look at what is happening now, this is just an example that she has quoted. A lot of people are already experiencing this. Now taking a look at this tweet, Big Gates is applying the same ruthless strategy he used at Microsoft to acquire monopolistic control over the food and agricultural industry. Big Gates has adapted this Microsoft strategy from the 1990s called Embrace, Extend, Extinguish, where Microsoft will enter an industry, the internet browser industry. It will extend its reach and then it will extinguish the competitions. We are saying that right now with his land investment and his food investment, he is investing in this fake meat company. So he enters the farming space and then he expands his reach, buys up more and more property, and then he pushes for the regulation that are going to put the farmers out of business. He put out a book, talk about this. He had this interview on Fox News where they actually talk a lot pertaining to this. Sometimes I really don't want to really talk about topics like this, but it is important I report on this globally. A lot is happening. When I look through a lot of people reporting on videos like what I'm doing here, they don't actually go into touching topics like this, but it is important. I should be able to report even one video per day.
There are powerful, rich forces who would rather you fall in line with their vision for the world.
It's all in the new book called Controligarchs, exposing the billionaire class, their secret deals, and the globalist plot to dominate your life.
Let's bring in the author of that book, Seamus Bruner. Seamus, tell us what you've learned about the Controligarchs.
Most people have heard by now that Bill Gates is amassing large tracts of farmland all across the country. But what they don't know is why a software salesman or how can become a farmer. And it's actually very interesting. Bill Gates has adapted this Microsoft strategy from the 1990s that got it into trouble with antitrust regulators. The strategy was called Embrace, Extend, Extinguish, where Microsoft would enter an industry, the internet browser industry. It would extend its reach, and then it would extinguish the competition. And so we're seeing that right now with Bill Gates's both his land investments and his food investments. He's investing in these fake meat companies. So he enters the farming space. He acts as if, it's just a honest, humble investment. And then he expands his reach, buys up more and more properties, and then he pushes for the regulations that are going to put the farmers out of business.
Putting farmers out of business to what end? Because he single-handedly is going to save Mother Earth?
Yeah, I mean, that's the claim. It's an ambitious goal to save the planet. He talks about...
Patrick Bet-David sent this out on Twitter. Did Klaus Schwab just say predictive elections? The man is shameless about the dark vision of the future. When I take a look at this compared to a video recently I saw on MMBC where this man went on insane rant that if Donald Trump is re-elected, he will shut down the internet.
The technology now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result